Okay, I'm back. Oh, I gotta breathe through this. I'm sorry. And I'm going to recorrect myself because my math was wrong. His little brother was not 18. He had to be about 19 or 20. But his girlfriend was 16 because she was a year older than me. Again, same point though. Why is a grown man hanging out with a bunch of kids? All his friends were kids. That he hung out with. I mean, he was known, but he mainly hang out with the kids, the teenagers, everybody under 18, and all of us girls were under 18. So to get back to it, so yes, those parts of some of it, he was telling truth. Some was halfway told. I think we started dating technically Thanksgiving of 1994. He actually went to my mama's house with me. And she asked me how old he was. Because I had to make a drop appearance, And she had asked me how old he was. And I told her, I said, I think he's 18. She went, he's not, Heather, that's a grown man. And then they were trying to ask him about it. And he lied and told them he was 18. So in my brain, I thought he was 18. But again, he never knew how old I was. That did not come up. And in his defense, he could have maybe they were just asking to get to know him. But he lied and said he was 18. He lied and said he was 18. So he had to know how old I was. And later on, as it got, the weeks that we were dating, even my friend at the time even stated he knew how old I was. That was bullshit. He knew how old I was. But we were probably dating 2 weeks when his parents found out how old I was. Him and I were dating for about a week, and he was wanting to go to a bar. Everybody was wanting to hit the bar, and I'm like, I can't go to the bar with y'all. I was with the brother. I'm only 15. Oh, well, you can pass. I don't think they're gonna ask you for it. Like, it was no big deal. I'm like, no, I don't have no ID. I don't have no type of identification. I don't have nothing. So, but that's how, when I told him how old I was, he swears up and down that his little brother and his little brother's girlfriend and the other friend told him I was 18. They deny ever saying anything about that. They were the ones who went and told the parents that I was 15 years old, and that's why his dad wanted me out of his house. He threw a temper tantrum, and I didn't go nowhere. Because all he had to do was throw a temper tantrum, and he got his way. And that's why explains a lot of the reasons a lot happens now. So we were dating. I want to say it might have been 2 weeks, but I'm going to push it to 3 weeks. When he realized that I was always wearing the same outfit. And it was the same time that he finally came to my house. And he's seen the living conditions, and he's seen that there was no parents in the picture. He met my mama. He met, I'm going to change her name, I'm not good at doing that. Minnie. He met Minnie. Minnie was, she was actually my aunt, but we were so close in age that we was raised as sisters. He met her, met my grandpa, but never met my mother. And he had no idea. So no, right off the bat, he did not know the situation. Once he found out that there was really no parents involved, he did. He bought me food for my house. He took me shopping, got me all kinds of clothes. He was so nice to me, so caring. He was a total butthole if he didn't get his way with other people. For the first time, I felt wanted and I felt loved. But to be absolutely honest, I was a pretty good hustler too. And he was my meal ticket out of this. I truly was never in love with him. I loved him, but I was never truly in love with him. And at that point in time, as I got older and looking back, and while we were married, as I got older looking back, I wasn't in love with him. I didn't even love him then. I loved the thought that somebody was actually paying me attention, that someone was actually doing things for me. Some weeks had went by. He found out the situation. He took me shopping. He got stuff from my house for me to eat. And then it came to, and yes, we had already had spicy sleep several times, but it came to, after that was done, he wanted to prove his love to me. And that was, if I loved him and if I wanted him to show me how much I loved him, that he loved me, we would have unprotected spicy sleep. That was for him to be able to prove to me that he loved me and for me to show him how much I loved him. So yeah, Shelton was created. Christmas came and went. I remember his great grandma when he brought me over there. She made the comment, "You got a new little girl?" And I was just, she knew. His grandmother knew that I was not a legal adult. She knew I was. And that comment, and it was years later, that comment still stuck with me. Spent Christmas Eve there, Christmas Day at my mama's house. My mother actually made an appearance where she had met him for the first time. We went back, left my grandmother's, went back to the trailer park, and my mother was actually home. But she went next door to the person who lived on the side of us because that was the man she was chasing. And he was a great guy. He really was. But he was gay. And my mother was determined she was going to make him straight. So, yeah. My mother asked him how old he was that night. He told her he was 18. And my mama knew it. She knew she was calling it out to be a lie. She knew it was a lie. And my mother just didn't care. Oh, okay. Oh, there's food. Oh, you did that. Oh, thank you. And she didn't have. And we got back on his motorcycle and hit that causeway and went back to his parents' house. December came, New Year's came, and it was still going back and forth every weekend, back and forth. He'd come pick me up on a Friday. I would stay at his mom and dad's house till Sunday, and I would come back Sunday night to go to school. And if I was suspended, then I stayed the whole week at his mom and dad's house. And yes, I got suspended twice. That's a story for another time. And he was nice. He was so nice. And he was so sweet and so kind. And gave me attention. And we went places and we did this. And he was making, it seemed like all these sacrifices for me. And when I got older and I started pretty much looking in to this whole thing, I realized what was going on. I was being played. That whole personality was a fraud. January hit, and that's when the power didn't get paid. I remember pretty much just biting my nails and just about to go insane waiting for Friday so I could go to his house so I would have a warm, comfy place to sleep and be able to take a hot bath. I had taken so many cold baths that it wasn't even funny. And I remember him getting on the phone with my mother because I wanted a tattoo so bad. And we were able to get in touch with her. And she's like, oh no, she's too young to get it. They're not going to let her get one. He's like, yeah, I know this guy named Doc in New Orleans. He'll do it. He ain't going to ask no information, And I'm not paying for that. That's sin on her body. Oh, I got them all over. And you love me. And plus, I'm paying for it. And she said, fine, as long as it wasn't no skulls or it's not. It's a heart with angel wings. I really should have slapped my name on that, because after I got that tattoo, about 10 years later, heart with wings started coming out everywhere. And he paid for it. And it was right before my 16th birthday I got it. Got my tattoo, stayed over there. And I remember the day of my birthday, we had came from across the lake to Abita Springs because that's where his family, his mom and dad, they had purchased land. And they were clearing out the property, and we had went over there to help, and I got to cramping so bad that I actually go back to my truck. I was hurting so bad. And he was like, yeah, and plus he wanted to go hang out with his friends and do that, and I was just, oh, you go hang out with them, just take me back to my house. I'm cramping really bad. And I remember him dropping me off and them leaving, and again, I had no power, And when I pulled those my pair of pants off, there was blood in them. So in my mind, I thought I was having a period. And honestly, now looking back, because I was actually pregnant at that time. I think I was either trying to have a miscarriage but I've heard but that was a lot. I remember it being a lot of blood and then having to get in that icy cold water. And I will never, that water felt colder than what it had ever felt before. And it was my birthday was very cold that year. And that tub, and it's weird how some memories just trigger. But I remember being in that icy, cold bath water. And I knew it was it. I had to find a way to get out of this. I could not continue to live like this. So I lied, not knowing that I was actually telling the truth. I lied and said I was pregnant to my mother in hopes that she would make me go live with him. Come to find out, his parents were letting him stay in an apartment that they owned. They owned an apartment complex in Kenner. And he was going to ask me to move in with him anyway. He knew about the lie. I did not lie to him about being pregnant. This lie was for my mother. He was in on the lie. We just didn't know at the time that it actually wasn't a lie. It was actually the truth. And the whole plan was I was going to move in with him. And I was going to pay some of the bills because I will not lie. He is very truthful when he said, yes, I got a check. I got a check because when I was 11 years old, I tried to unalive myself intentionally. I got tired of hearing that I was ugly. I was stupid. I looked just like my father. I ruined her life. I was a sin. And so much more. That I didn't want to be here. A child. My grandpa had had 2 brain tumors and had them removed. So I took a whole bunch of his medication. And 2 days later was when someone realized, where was Heather been at? 2 days. It took somebody to notice that 11-year-old wasn't around. I was hospitalized. The doctor did say I did die, but I had came back. And to all the people who see a bright light and everything, I didn't see any of that. I saw darkness, and I remember it. I remember feeling alone, and it was pitch black. I wasn't cold. I wasn't hot. I was nothing. I was just in blackness. I had a tube down my nose. My stomach was pumped. I was blind for a week. I did lose my eyesight, and I got it back. The doctor said if I would have taken one more pill, they would have had a massive seizure and just died. There would have been nothing they could do. And after that, I was put on a waiting list and I was put into a mental institution. And that's where I met my best friend that was deaf, and I learned sign language. So, yes, I was in a mental institution because I tried to take my life at 11 years old, and I was there for a year. So, yeah, that was not a lie. Yes, I was in a mental institution. So, yeah, that's how I got a check. A check that he really wanted. So I was going to pay the bills with my check. Well, he thought that that's how it was going to play out, but my mother's a little bit more greedier than what he was. I am going to take a break from now, and we will be back to the story of lying, us both lying, not knowing that was actually true, about me being pregnant. So, I'm going to end for right now. So far, y'all getting some of the true parts. Because I know he does go around telling people how I was in a mental institution, but nobody knew the reasons why and how old I was. So I'll be back.